In the previous video, we saw that we created an ECS cluster with the name ECS Fargate cluster, and we also created a task definition with the name ECS Fargate task. While building this task, if you remember, we were able to combine the respective policy, which basically creates an integration between our task and the secrets manager. And we were also able to specify our secrets manager's ARN and the respective Docker image inside this task. If we go back to our cluster now, we see that for this ECS target cluster, there are basically no tasks running. That is, this task which we have just created with the name ECS target task is still not associated with any cluster. So in this video, we'll basically be deploying this task and associating with the cluster, and then we'll be testing our application. So let's just go ahead and do that. So the first thing is just select the task which you have just created, and under deploy, click on run task. After you click on run task, I want you to choose the cluster which you have just created. So the only cluster which we have created is ECS Fargate cluster. So just select that. Now for compute options, we will be using launch type as Fargate because that is what we have been doing so far. And for platform version, I want you to go ahead with the default settings. For deployment configuration, since we are using a task-oriented deployment, so we'll just click on task. That is basically, it comes with as default once we choose this launch type as Fargate. And for the division type, we'll just keep every value as same. We are just running one task. That is why this value has been set to 1. For all other options type, that is networking, whatever VPC settings are being shown and subnet settings are being shown, we'll just use the default settings because we want to expose our application to different subnets. For example, US 1A, 1B, 1C, 1E, 1F, like throughout the US. And like we will also make sure that this IP, like whatever IP address which we are using, is made public so that could be accessed by other users. All other value, container overrides, tags, and task overrides will not be changed. They'll be like kept as is. So the only change which we did was first we connected our task to ECS Fargate cluster, and we chose the launch type as Fargate. And all other values are the same. Just make sure that you are running one task. After that, we click on create. And now the ECS task should be associated with your respective cluster. It is still under the provisioning state, as you can see on the screen. So let's just wait for it. Now it is under pending, and soon it should be under the running state, which is basically the desired state we want from our application. So if we keep on refreshing the application, this is definitely going to take on some time. So after that, the focus then would be to allow all traffic from the outside world to access our task, or ultimately the Docker container and the Streamlit application. So as we can see now, the application is now in the running stage. Let's just go ahead and click on this as well. So everything is now refreshed. So the next thing would be, we want to make sure that we allow traffic from the outside world to access our application. So just under clusters, click on the cluster. Under tasks, click on the task, and let's just open this in a new page. And after we do that, what we need to do is go under for the task which you've just created, that is this one. Click under networking, and under networking, just click on ENI ID. Just press open this in a new tab again. After that, we need to click on security groups. And for security groups, click on edit inbound rules. So it says that all traffic from port number 8501 is allowed. I'm just going to delete it and add it again so that I don't make any mistake making this, so that I can also allow all traffic from the outside world. So basically, we'll click on anywhere IPv4. So once we do that, we have 000, and we click on save rules. So the rule has now been saved, and we go back to our network settings. That is ECS Fargate cluster. So it is again in the running stage. Nothing has been changed. And then we go back to, since we clicked on this, we were able to access this. All we need to do now is click on this public IB, go back to your browser, and you can access this by typing 850 and 1, and just hit enter. So after we do that, we see that the application is in the running stage. So let's see if it crashes now or not, given that we've attached those policies. So the application is not crashed. So that is why if we did not attach those policies, the application would have crashed. Now let's just open Visual Studio Code again and go back to our app.py. We can take our application, that is the first text, and just paste it here and click on generate summary. Now let's see if it is actually able to generate a summary for us. So it is actually able to do that. So basically I've copy pasted entire news articles from the internet and pasted it in a single line. You can go ahead and try any other article you like. Let's just try the second one. Let's just click here, remove all this, paste the second one, and generate summary. So behind the scenes, it basically fetches the OpenAI's API key at runtime, makes a call to the LLM, generates a summary, and presents it back to us in real time.